They used to say about the Queen that wherever she went, the world smelled of wet paint. And for a long time, it's pretty much been the case for me that wherever I go, there's always a whole heap of amateur dramatics and propaganda drives and attempts to engineer big deal dramatic moments. And it was the case when I went to Worcester on Tuesday for an eye test, where the taxi driver from the off dropped us miles away from the opticians. So me and this fella had to walk all the way through the city with a whole load of propaganda stuff going on. Amateur dramatics. We got to the opticians, and it was going on there as well, and we got out the opticians and so on and so forth. And it's just like, oh, for fuck's sake, do you know how boring it is to watch the same stunts being pulled again and again and again? You know, I have to wonder, if I'm bored of it, how the fuck are the people who are engineering all this stuff, how must they feel? They're bound to be bored of it by now, but it seems not. Because when, anyway, I went for the eye test. There's nothing much has changed in my eyes, so I can use my old glasses. And it's a good job, because the glasses I tried on, even though they looked great online, were actually shit in person. The glasses I was shown anyway, there could have been a difference, you know, who knows what the person can get up to these days. But anyway, I didn't bother getting the glasses. I got more money to play around with now then. And but yeah, it was just, and I have to wonder, does that actually egg them on more? If I don't give a shit about what's going on, sometimes I react off the back of druggings. Well, like I've said in the past, you can make anything happen off the back of druggings. If you want to make someone look, if you want to make yourselves look like Colt Britannia and all that type of propaganda crap, by drugging people up, then you can do that. If you've got the power to do that, you can do that. Particularly, I don't think it's a great way of doing things, but who am I to say? But yeah, you know, when I got back from Worcester, because it was the same old type of stuff, and it was just really boring, even though I played off it. A few hours later, I had a meeting at the hospital with the shrinks. Now they'd agreed to me filming them, to recording them on audio, to get it transcribed, and just go over the meeting, because it's a lot better if you're not relying on memory to go away, because you might think, well, he was a bit of a twat, or he was all right, or whatever. You can actually listen to the recording afterwards and sort of say, get a more accurate assessment of things. But like, not only did the lead psychiatrist, the lead shrink, play off that sort of thing, he also, with the language games and stuff like that, he also neglected to say, which you wouldn't anyway, you wouldn't expect him to, that the room was booked to shit. There were loads of people, like, you know, watching the proceedings. That's just the way it is. He even said, that's not going on. I just thought, well, I couldn't give a shit if you say stuff like this, if stuff like that's going to wind me up. But anyway, you know, it did seem like he was, yeah, like with the language games, I actually had to say to him, look, you've been really anachronistic. The time for that type of talk was quite a while ago now. It's like one of the meetings I had with one of the other shrinks. It's like I had a meeting with her that went quite badly. And then I have another meeting with her about a week later or something like that. And in between times, a lot had changed, a lot for the better. And yet in the second meeting I had with her, I still treated her as if she was approaching me from the position of the first meeting I had with her. Things had changed and I hadn't adapted. Well, that's what this guy was like. And I actually had to say it to him, that look, it's a bit like when I first entered the system in 2000, and I looked and I thought, this is really archaic and really anachronistic, this thing called psychiatry that I'd never seen close up before. such is the case even now, I'd say. Yeah, the pharmacological stuff's advanced. I'd say the subliminal and unconscious stuff's possibly advanced, but it would still be the same dated, crucible type logic that you get behind all that. So, I say that with qualifications, sort of thing. But yeah, and it's just like, if you're having to put this much effort into a propaganda drive and to just do this, that, and everything, it's like, why don't you just fucking drag somebody off the fucking streets, look at them with some sort of amalgam, and fucking bring them down here and fucking let me go on. Like, I wouldn't advise that because it wouldn't be fair on the person involved, but that's the way it goes, isn't it? But not only that with the meeting, it was also that they sort of seem to be defaulting to conventional psychiatric thinking in a really unconventional scenario that I think is mistaken, because by trying to make me think this is all internal to me, that is going to have a detrimental effect on me, I'd argue, which was the original idea of not trying to subject me to thinking that what had happened with the likes of the architects was all to do with me, nothing of the sort. But anyway, yeah. So I had to tell him anyway, look, you're really anachronistic. The times have changed. But the druggings have returned in the past couple of days. The shenanigans never stopped, but sort of I had more and more sort of just distance myself from them. It's just the fact of the matter is that I am not the amalgam. They had the amalgam for so long, and they based so much on that amalgam, but that's not where I'm coming from. And I sort of am second guessing the shrinks. They may not be thinking entirely like I'm guessing they are. I'm not going to be open to that. But from all I can see, it's it's not the ideal situation when people are running around like they were in Worcester City Centre with all the amateur dramatics and attempts at big deal dramatic moments and with a propaganda drive for some sort of depiction of cool Britannia or whatever. It's like yeah, I can sort of see why it would be good, but like that's not my life, is it? It's not my life to be part of some propaganda push, some propaganda drive. Might not make sense to people watching this, that, but it's like, like I say, that is pretty much the big one. The 25 years went like that, and really I am not the amalgam. That was prepared years in advance, that type of scenario. That has got very little, if anything, to do with me. But anyway, yeah, the tribunal. They said, I mean, what would be the point in going ahead with that? It's pretty strange. It's kind of like with that meeting with the shrinks. It's where when they tried to make it all internal, because the tribunal would have been rigged if it even did go ahead. They said it did. I've only got their word for it. But it'd be pretty ridiculous because they'd have all been there. What would they have talked about? They're all part of rigging it, so what are they going to talk about? But anyway, it's just like this attempt to make it all look like an internal process with the individual, what had been going on with other people, is not the wisest move. But that's, but because they're stuck with that, a traditional psychiatric thinking in an extraordinary situation, because they're stuck with that, they sort of perpetuate the power differentials that were put in place by the architects. They might not be able to see that, but I can see it as clear as day. The way I am, the way they are, the way the whole thing is, it's sort of those dynamics just continue. And me, I just, if I see stuff like I saw in Worcester City Centre around here, You know, you just get on with your day. You say your piece and get on with your day. You say your piece at most, and then just get on with your day. But yeah, I've been having quite a few meetings with doctors lately as well. All of a sudden, all at once, I came down with a whole load of physical ailments. And it was it last night or the night before, I thought, hang on a sec, there's no way on earth I'd be having all these physical complaints and all these meetings and appointments with doctors left, right and centre. So it was like, yeah, you know, almost certainly it's, because this thing's been going on. I thought, well, I don't do that sort of thing. You know, that sort of physical ailment doesn't happen with me. So I don't know, you know, they may have been trying on the wind-up methodology around that as well with some of that, but it's like, I really don't give a shit. You know, it's just like, it's an easier life for me if I just cancel these appointments with physical doctors who look at your physical body, rather than go running around if it is some drive for some propaganda for the NHS, which I'm just not interested in. If I need the NHS, I'll turn to them. If I don't, I won't. It's, you know, that's what everyone does, isn't it? But anyway, who knows these days? So yeah, but all this, I mean, this is all letting off a bit of steam. You know, for the past 2 days, the druggings have been back. And that make me think, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go again. But anyway, because like I've already dealt with, you know, all the type of stuff they tried to give me with druggings and so on and so forth, all the old arguments down, Worcester City Centre and so on and so forth, here, there and fucking everywhere. It's all been dealt with. But because of that, I can sort of compartmentalise it quite well at times. And it's sort of that this is one of the main things, like I think I mentioned in the last video, I've been able to do, and that is concentrate on some great reading and this little project that I'm working on that's really interesting. You know, it's sort of and it's come at the right time. You know, everything sort of came together for it. And I'm working on that now, yeah. And it is really interesting. And like, I don't know whether they're trying to get me back into the state I was a while back, where I was just sitting there doing nothing, looking out the window and stuff, and they'd be tripping out there thinking, oh, he's thinking this, that, and everything around that. I don't know whether they were thinking that. They did seem to be on tenterhooks, quite a lot to say the least. But no, you know, getting on with stuff, and maybe, like I said, maybe the meds have had a part in that. But quite a few things have just calmed things down for me. Maybe that's why they've been drugging me up for the past 2 days, because maybe they've been sitting there thinking, hang on a sec, this ain't supposed to happen. But, you know, it sort of is. You know, I'm not interested. I will say, to close this video, I would rather have my project in the books I'm reading. You know, there will be edits in most of the books that I read, I'd thought. But I don't mind just sticking around with the books, you know, and doing a mini project or whatever, and then seeing where that leads, and so on and so forth. I don't mind doing things like that. You know, it's a drag that, you know, everywhere I go, it's amateur dramatics and propaganda drives, looking for big deal dramatic moments that I sort of play with, but don't really bother too much with, as you wouldn't. You know, it's just like, yeah, I'm doing this thing that I'm really interested in, while people run around doing X, Y, Z. It's just like, well, if you're having to do all that, wouldn't it be best to just like, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I'll take a break, I think, tonight from working on the project. It's coming together quite nicely, but I did a website around it, and I've had to take it offline until I start patterning out with content that I'm working on now. But yeah, but it does take time to gather the information together. But yeah, enjoyable stuff. But anyway, that's that for now.